Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this video. This is going to be all about a new palette from Coastal Scents. It's the 88 Metal Mania palette. I've already posted a tutorial using this palette. Obviously it doesn't show the whole scope of what this is because there's 88 colors in it. So I'll probably do some more looks, but this is just going to be kind of a run through of what this palette's all about and how I feel about it after using it for some time now. And also in this video I'm going to compare this to my Coastal Scents 78 palette, which is sort of like the 88, only it's got blush in it. The 88 Shimmer and the 88 Warm. So I get so many questions, like, you know, they'll see when somebody will, you know, learn about Coastal Scents for the first time and they think they're going in for one palette, and then they look at the website and they're like, which one do I need now? I totally know that feeling. So I'm going to sort of explain who these different palettes may be best for, how they compare, that sort of thing. So let's get right into it with the Metal Mania palette. What you're getting is, you know, one of these plasticky palettes here. Has the whole label there on the front, what palette it is. Metal Mania, you might get a little intimidated, like, you know, that sounds kind of intense, but really it's not that scary, and it's honestly not that metallic, really. So here's a look at the 88 shades you are getting here. At first glance, I think this appears to be a very neutral palette. I just feel like the whole color scheme is very neutral as a whole, very much kind of based around our natural skin tones. You're going to see over on this side sort of a brighter color scheme here with these pinks, but still, you know, pinks and things like that do play off of natural tones in our skin. When you look at these, I think they appear like the shades in the 88 Shimmer palette. They appear to be quite shimmery, most of them. However, there are a few that are kind of deceiving, and they don't instantly look all that shimmery, but they have like a dual tone to them. It's like they have a blue undertone or like an iridescent finish that you don't expect to see. So that's kind of fun, you know, to be able to go through the palette and then, you know, not everything is kind of what you first think it is when you see it. The main thing that I think people need to know about this palette is that the finish you get on your eye completely depends on what kind of brush you use or what kind of method you use to apply it. Okay, if I take my finger and I rub it on top of one of these shades, I am going to get a very metallic finish there, you know? But if I took this product and I put it on a brush that was somewhat more fluffy, and I got it on that brush and then I applied it on my hand, I'm going to get a much more diffused color there. So basically what I'm trying to get at is that if you want to apply this and make it look light and not too thick and not too metallic or shiny or shimmery, all you need to do is apply it with a, you know, like a fluffier brush. You pack it on, you get the shine, you dust it and make it a little more blended out, you're not going to get all that shine. I've really noticed that with the tutorial I did. I was kind of surprised at how much of an impact that made on the application. Just going through the colors, I find that the gold colors and sort of the metal toned shades here, like the golds, and there's a few silvers that really come off super pigmented. I think the folks at Coastal Scents did a great job in terms of those golden shades because they are really, truly metallic. The bronzes, there's like a deep bronze here that I really like. I mean, check it out. These can be very intense. And then going to a silver one. Where was my silver here? Here we go. You know, the silver is pretty impressive as well. So kind of those, you know, there's gold, bronze, silver. Those shades I feel like really pull off this metallic look well. So if that's something you're going for, you can achieve that with those shades. And then we go to like a green. And the green is pretty, but it doesn't quite pack as much of a punch necessarily. There's a few greens, you've got a few plummy purples, which also, you know, don't turn out, they're pretty, but they don't turn out to be quite as intense as those, you know, metallic metal shades. And then you've got some really fun bright colors that I think are fun to play with, and if you watch my tutorial, you know I like to use these, you know, pinkish shades or brighter shades kind of up in here, kind of fading that darkest shade in your crease up to something that's really light and fun. There's a pink. And you can see almost as I put it right up to the camera, at least from my vantage point, it practically looks purple. There it's pink. So you're seeing that kind of double tone on some of these. This is one that has that look. Oh, there's an interesting pink here. I need to find a clean finger. There's a pink that has sort of a, it looks blue and sometimes it looks pink, and then there's a white that is like a truly, gosh, hopefully I can show you, but it's there on my ring finger, and it's like a true iridescent finish with sort of, it goes from pink to green to practically blue. So there are some surprising shades in this palette. Some of them are more shimmery than others. They don't all have the exact same finish, though many of them do look shimmery and metallic. Some of them, you know, honestly don't look that metallic at all. Some of them are practically borderline like a satin or a matte finish. Just a few, just a couple in there are that way. So you are going to have a little variation. Sort of the bummer to this palette is that when I want to use some of these brighter shades and make a look out of them, and what you may have seen that I had to do in my tutorial using this palette, I had to go out and find a separate like matte black shade just to tone things down a little bit. And I understand like it wouldn't make sense to say 88 Metal Mania palette plus, you know, one matte black shade. No, that doesn't really make much sense at all. So I see why, you know, it doesn't make sense for them to throw in one matte black shade, but that's the problem you run into when you get these palettes that are just sort of labeled that way, because you know you're not going to get that one matte shade to kind of pull everything down a notch and sort of make it even more wearable, make your look less muddy. You know, the closest you can get in this palette to black is probably this shade right here. It may not look black from that vantage point, but it's still very shiny, and so I feel like sometimes looks with all these colors require something a little more matte thrown in. So assuming you have, you know, a matte brown or a matte black in your collection, I think this could work for you. If you like neutrals, it's going to work for you fine. But now I'm going to lay down my palettes side by side. We're going to take a closer look at them and really see what one might be best for you. Okay, everyone, here we go. Here is our Coastal Scents Metal Mania palette. As you can see, variety of colors. Somewhat of a variety, but you're getting into a lot of warm shades with this palette, but you've got a lot of neutral colors as well. Those bronze, gold, and various typical shades you would think of in that metallic format are in this palette. You've got a lot of rosy shades as well. Looking at this next to the 88 Warm palette, you can kind of see a lot of similarities just overall looking at this one. With the 88 Warm palette, you're going to get all the colors you need for a smoky eye, including matte shades. You get a combination of matte and shimmer colors. You have a lot of options for highlight shades, which if you were looking at this in person, you would be able to see the subtle differences in some of these light colors here. But you also get some warm shades, some plums, some browns, some pretty peach colors. So looking at them side by side, I mean, while the Metal Mania palette is somewhat neutral, the Warm palette is going to give you some options in terms of finishes. You've got matte brown, matte black, and all that. If you feel like you really aren't all that wild about shimmer and you mainly want neutral shades, then go for the 88 Warm. But if you do want to experiment with some color and have a great amount of neutrals still, and you like shimmer, go for the Metal Mania palette. And right next to that, I have the 88 Shimmer. And what I sort of wanted to be able to show here, unfortunately, like I said, the lighting isn't fantastic, but you can see the finish on some of these colors here in the Metal Mania. Looking at the finish over here on the 88 Shimmer palette, you can see, although it's different colors, it's a very similar finish, really. Like if I were to swatch one of these golds here in the 88 Shimmer and then swatch it right over here, they're really a lot alike, okay? So, you know, if you like color, if you like experimenting with the blues, the greens, a wide range of pink and purple, this may be for you. It's a good kit to have in your or it's a good palette to have in your kit, because you can kind of draw on any random shade you want. You know, if it's that Kelly green shade or something that's turquoise or coral. I mean, you have it pretty much all in there, and then you have a couple of lines here that are somewhat neutral. But once again, to tone down some of these, you may want a matte shade just singularly in your collection. Whereas again, with the 88 Warm, you have those in the palette. Coming over here, this is actually a palette that I don't hear people talk about a lot. I don't just have the regular 88 matte palette. The first one I got from Coastal Scents was this one, which is the 78 palette. And you are getting a lot of matte shades, although some of these do have a little bit of that satin finish, meaning there's just a hint maybe of a little bit of shine in those shades. But I liked how, what kind of attracted me to this was, it was kind of before I was really getting into combining different colors, and I could tell each set kind of had its own theme going, and I could figure out where to go from there. And then it does come with some metallic colors right below it. You can see these neutrals and the rectangular shapes. You know, you get a great, great rich black, and then, you know, some are matte, some are shimmer. I really like that, and I wanted to try the blushes too, so you get 6 different shades of blush. So this is a really good combo palette, because you're getting some, you know, really shimmery shades. You're getting some mattes that you can deal with. You're getting some browns and neutrals and colors and blush. So I enjoyed getting that as a starter palette, because I felt like I really understood a lot about, you know, what the Coastal Scents shadows were like. So once again, we've got the 88 Warm, very neutral, mix of matte and shimmer. You've got the Metal Mania palette, which is a lot of neutral, some warm shades, and they're almost all a very, very shimmery finish. You've got the 88 Shimmer palette, which is incorporating probably like 80% colorful shades with a little bit of neutral, but they all have the same shimmery finish. And then the 78 palette, where you've got a mix of colors, neutrals, shimmers, mattes, and you have some blush. Alright guys, that's all for this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for joining my Facebook page for Beauty Broadcast. It's been a lot of fun getting to know a lot of you on there, and also on Twitter. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time.